Hey guys, all right, time to get back on track once again, and we're going to play some NHLPA 93 here. So let me go ahead and get this started up, and here we go. NHLPA Hockey 93. Now, first thing we need to do here, of course, is we have to go into our options, and we have to go into our controls, and we have to load our remap file, because for some reason it doesn't read it automatically from my Genesis style controller. And now we can get into this. So this is actually my first time playing this game. Unlike the original NHL hockey, of course, it's going to be similar, but as you can see, there are no like actual team designations. This is just sort of a bunch of different players and a bunch of cities instead of actual teams. So we're not going to play as All-Stars anything. We're going to play as Quebec, and we're going to play against Montreal. Actually, you know what? I'm doing this backwards. We'll turn penalties on. We'll keep line changes off. How does that sound? So Quebec was pretty bad by this time. Montreal was really good. So this should be fun. Quebec is an up-and-coming team. Yes, we're an up-and-coming team. Thank you very much. Patrick Waugh was still in this. So, all right. We'll get at it, and we'll see what happens. It's telling me scores from other games. This is technically in season mode, but it doesn't, like, nothing saves. Well, that was a waste. Everybody's telling me that there's some blood here when you get to fighting, so we want to fight as much as we can. Of course, with a team like this, it's kind of the best strategy that we have. Oh man, I love this game. All right, so here we go. This feels very, very familiar. Hey, well, we injured someone. How about that? It's Savard. Now I have to, oh, we got called for a penalty. Oh, that's probably the reason why. I have to admit that there are a lot of players here who I'm not entirely familiar with. I mean, this is, it's pretty cool how the game does that for you automatically. This would have been, what, like the 91, 92 season, I think, something like that. So I was like 7 or 8. I didn't necessarily know all that much about hockey other than most of the like really good players. I almost scored an own goal. That would have been pretty embarrassing. Maybe we should have turned line changes on. Our goalie's way out of position there. All right, so that's the way that you kill a penalty. It's also not the way you play defense, but they were offside anyway, so it's all right. So I tell you, comparing this with the first one, it's the same game, that's for sure. It feels just the same. All right. So ideally on this channel we'll have more time than we did last time. We don't want to have too many of those occasions. Ah, boy. Okay, interference. Well, on us. Oh, okay. I'm not sure what happened. It wasn't me. I was going to say we don't want to necessarily have too many times in this channel where I'm trying to play like 4 or 5 or 6 different games like in a single day. So instead of trying to do it that way, I'm going to try to sort of gradually go through, play like a little bit here and a little bit there, you know, try to get a good schedule going on. I'm also not going to just do videos on video games. We're going to have a bunch of like historical things and a couple of other subjects to touch on. So you'll see here in the near future, we got some pretty cool stuff coming up. I tell you, our goalie just loves going out of the box there. Well, we've been doing a good job getting rid of Canadians. We've been injuring them left and right, so as long as we can keep that up, I think we'll be fine. How about that, huh? We didn't see that with the first game. Now, what I would really like is if I tried to do something like that, if somebody came over and decided to fight with me for trying to stick it into the net after the whistle. All right, let's go. Good job. I tell you, there's so many cool things in this game, like, you know, guys throwing a little screen for you and stuff like that. This game was really, really well designed. Surprised we haven't had any fights so far. I've been playing pretty aggressively. Offsides, well, that's going to be a little bit frustrating, isn't it? I did notice, and this is actually true, the first game you can change it so that it calls it doesn't call penalties and there's no offside or whatever, or that it does call penalties and it turns offside off if you want to set it up that way. But for this time around, I want to play it sort of the real way. I still can't score. It's amazing. All right, it's showing me other scores here. EASN Hockey Night. Speaking of which, there are a couple of other hockey games that we can probably start playing here, so it's not going to be just the EA series. I mentioned it before, but I do want to play Mario Lemieux for the Genesis, which I haven't played yet. We'll try that one of these days, probably pretty soon. We'll try the EA game for Super Nintendo. And eventually we'll start getting to a bunch of other games. People have been asking me about stuff like Hit the Ice, games like that, so we'll get to some of those. I have a couple of newer games on Steam as well that I haven't really tried yet. I probably will like at least learn kind of what I'm doing first before I play those so I don't embarrass myself too much. But that's another line of gaming that will come up soon. All right, well, we haven't had a whole lot of action here so far other than the one goal and a lot of penalties that I've committed. The most exciting thing we've had is we've had a whole bunch of chances to see how many Canadians we can injure. That was Kamensky with the goal. It was Sakic again with the assist, of course. Alright, here we go. Got bodies strewn all over the ice. I don't know why I'm being charged for a penalty. I'll wave it off then. I don't even know what it is I did. It won't even tell me what the penalty would have been for. As somebody commented on one of the videos recently that they'd forgotten that there was a time when sports video games had music. I will tell you though that one of the issues I have with the really early EA games is that it's like it's nothing but, you know, this static crowd noise. At least in this one, there's like some cheering that goes on, and it happens at an appropriate time. They got a penalty. Good. And then there's the great organ music, which is the best part of the game. But, you know, other than that, like, I do kind of like it in some of the older, like, NES games where you have music and stuff. I think it really adds something to the experience. Oh, come on. I don't know what I just did, but it was good. Now, see, I put that one in the net. Nobody challenged me on that. Boy, they're a little bit quick there, I think, to call that face off. I held on to that puck for maybe a couple of seconds. Maybe like 2 seconds. This game keeps you on your toes. How about that, huh? 3-1. So I'll give you guys, since you're here with me, I'll give you guys a little bit of a preview of what we're going to talk about, what the next video is going to be about here. Oh, I guess I was onside. Okay. So what we're looking at for the next video is the World of Hockey cards. We're going to go back to the 1990-91 sets, which you may or may not know. You're going to know, though, starting Saturday when the video comes out. But you may or may not know about it is that 1990-91 was the year that Upper Deck came out with not only its first hockey set, but also the famous French set. So the Upper Deck hockey French set was notorious because there were rumors that came out that Upper Deck had short printed the cards. And there were a couple of things Upper Deck did to get people to believe that the cards were short printed. And so as a result, the cards were extremely high demand. Especially in late 1990. It was the second series, I think, is the one that was in demand. So this would have been probably around Christmas time or so, 1990. Like, it's to the point where, like, people were, like, paying, you know, probably like 4 to 5 times, if not more, you know, the recommended, whatever it's called, the market value of the cards, just to get, like, cases of them. You can still find, like, tons and tons of cases of product out there. Anyway, it's really easy to find the sets. They never were really that short printed. So I have the full set of Upper Deck French hockey from that year. But it's kind of a sort of symbol of, like, the type of company that Upper Deck really was. They loved doing stuff like that, and they would always try to, like, you know, set it up so that you know, they could get as much, you know, extra money as humanly possible. Anyway, so we're going to talk about some of that. I was thinking originally of doing like a video just on that topic, but after having some success with videos on like baseball cards from certain seasons and stuff, I think we're going to look at everything from that year because there are a lot of other cool sets as well from that season that are definitely worth trying to check out. It's really the first season that you have more than one hockey set because for so long it was just nothing but like OPC and Tops, and it was starting in, I think he was onside. Oh, whatever. I see Long Island instead of the New York Islanders. Interesting. But yeah, that was kind of the first year that you had something beyond just like OPC in Canada and Tops in the United States. Anyway, so there's a lot of cool stuff to look at and cool stuff to talk about. So basically what it's going to be like, it's going to be similar to the football video I have actually coming out tomorrow, American football. We're going to be looking at different like card styles and card designs and stuff like that, looking at some of the history of hockey cards and how some of those sets kind of fit in. So it's going to be pretty cool. You should check it out. It's going to take me a little while. First, I have to like, do the research and all of that first. But I should have it definitely ready before Saturday. I should have it probably ready in a couple days. And depending upon how quickly this channel grows, once we start having channel memberships, at the rate we've been going at, that should happen probably in like a week. Once we have channel memberships, then I'll try to get videos done early so that people can watch it a little bit early if you want. I don't know what they're calling me a penalty for. Whatever. Maybe I hooked him or something. I don't know. Slashing. What, you mean I can't go with my stick and, slap the guy across the kneecaps? It doesn't hurt that bad. Anyway, so yeah, there's some junk wax for you to look forward to. I would love to cover earlier hockey cards as well. Boy, this game's tied now, huh? I would love to cover earlier hockey cards as well, but the problem is that for many of the earlier seasons, there was just no competition, so there's not really that much to talk about other than here's what this set looked like and here's how much it cost or whatever. One of the things I'm trying to do with sort of card-focused content is I'm trying to make things that are a little bit different than what you see most creators make when they talk about sports cards. Most of the sports card content that you see these days is mostly guys like opening up packs, and then you see some of people who will like talk about what are the top cards for this set or that set or whatever. It's kind of, not really much better than kind of like a Wikipedia read or whatever. And it's just, I don't know about you guys, for me that's not really the sort of content that I really want to watch, and so I'm trying to do stuff that's maybe a little bit more in detail, tells a little bit more stories and, stuff like that. That was going in. But isn't the animation in this game awesome? It's just amazing. I tell you, the animation there was great with the guy sort of, pumping the brakes there on the ice to get in the way of that shot. Oh, great! So we lose our best player. At least this way they don't have a power play anymore. Anyway, so that's kind of what we're looking into and looking about talking. There are some cool stories from the earlier years of hockey cards as well that we can get to, I think, eventually, especially talking about like cigarette cards and stuff like that from like the real early era. One of the things that at least I think that tends to make these types of videos really cool is the fact that I have access to a lot of old newspapers and can get a lot of original sources that, especially from like the 80s and 90s and stuff that most people don't really have access to. We just lost this game, but that was pretty bad. That's what I get for going for the hit instead of trying to play defense. See if we can get that one back. You can see all that blood, huh? That wasn't even the guy I was controlling. That was the computer control guy. All right, that's a little bit more like it. That's what we were looking for. So Pro Set right there, that's the other company that we're going to cover. I don't think Pro Set Hockey, did they start in 1990? I thought they started in 91. Maybe they did start in 90, I just have forgotten. That's a company I've talked about a lot in the football video that's coming out tomorrow. Pro Set is a pretty interesting company. And believe it or not, they actually did a lot of good in the world of football cards, even though I think most people think of their product as nothing but junk. They were really the first company to think in terms of like making football cards that collectors actually wanted. They were trying to do basically for football cards what Upper Deck had done for baseball. Because for so many years it was like, we just do like what we've always done, and there wasn't a lot of emphasis. Wow, man, there's a swing and a drive over the stands, wasn't it? For so many years, hockey cards were just about sort of doing what people had always done, hockey and baseball and so on, and who really cares about what the what the consumers think. They'll just buy what we give them and stuff. And that really started to change in 1989 with Upper Deck. But ProSet was the first company that brought that sort of attitude along to the world of football cards. And then I think you probably would argue that it was Upper Deck that did the same thing for hockey. Funny thing is that a lot of people over the years have thought, negatively about Upper Deck and the impact that the company's had on the hobby. But the truth is that when you really look at it, Upper Deck has done a lot of good, I think, for the hobby and for collecting and stuff like that. Even though the company really is not around anymore, at least not the way that it once was. And I know Fanatics is taking everything over and all this stuff. Even having said that, when I look back on what these older card sets were like, I realized that companies have learned a lot over time about how to, make sets that consumers actually are interested in purchasing. Boy, that was close, wasn't it? We don't even get one of the 3 stars of the game. Well, that's a rip. Anyway, yeah, a lot of companies these days at least know that people are interested in buying like cards that look nice for like their favorite players, or if you get a big hit, you want a hit that looks special, stuff like that. It wasn't always that way, so we'll have a little bit more to talk about that. Not just in the video that'll come out on Saturday, but also in some of these other gameplay videos. So come back tomorrow for more gameplay. We're going to have a whole bunch of other stuff, but we're going to keep it kind of simple for the time being. We'll have some fancy stuff for you again a little bit later. I'll talk with you later. Bye-bye.